Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to deal with psychosocial theory given by Erik Erikson. In previous class, we have discussed about Sigmund Freud, psychosocial theory, psychoanalytical theory. Here we are going to deal with psychosocial theory. Learning objectives. By the end of this class, you need to know about what is psychosocial theory, stages of psychosocial theory, and applications of this theory into the dentistry, the differences between Freud's and Erikson's theory of development. Biography. Erik Erikson is born in Frankfurt, Germany on June 15, 1902. Yes, his name is Erik Salomonsen. Later in 1911, his name was changed to Erik Homburger. What are the contributions of Erikson? See, Erikson is a Freudian ego psychologist. He is a disciple of Freud. And Erikson is much more societal and cultural oriented than most of the Freudians. He has breathed a new life into psychoanalytical theory. Most significant contribution is psychosocial theory of development and psychohistorical studies. One of the most astonishing events in science is human development. More interesting than physical growth is mental growth. Erik Erikson, a friend and student of Freud, elaborated and modified Freud's theory in 1963. He superimposed psychosocial and psychosexual factors that simultaneously contribute to the personality development of the child, in contrast to Sigmund Freud's, where he concentrated only on psychosexual aspects. The important assumptions of this theory are: development depends upon the child's instincts and response to those around him or her. Unresolved issues from early stages of life affect a person's ability to deal with subsequent stages. What does psychosocial mean? Before going in detail about this theory, I would like to add about what a psychosocial means. Stages of a personal life from birth to death are formed by societal or social interactions with a physical and psychological maturing of organism, mutual fit between individual and environment. The first four stages are seen during infancy and childhood. The fifth stage is during adolescence, last three stages during adult years up to and including old age. But here we are going to discuss till fifth stage, that is till adolescence. That is enough for undergraduate students. So, stages of psychosocial development. What are the stages? Infant, toddler, preschooler, schooler, grade schooler, teenager, young adult. So, in first infant, trust versus mistrust. Next, toddler, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Preschooler, initiative versus guilt. Grade schooler, that is industry versus inferiority. Teenager, identity versus role confusion. And then young adult, intimacy versus isolation. Middle age adult, generativity versus stagnation. Older adult, integrity versus despair. Till intimacy versus isolation, from intimacy versus isolation to integrity versus despair is adulthood. So we'll stick to till teenager. Development of basic trust, that is in first stage, birth 18 months. This corresponds to oral stage of Freud's psychoanalytical theory. In psychosocial, it is called as trust versus mistrust. What is trust? To trust is the place of confidence where one relies on someone or something. Mistrust, to have mistrust is to lack confidence in someone or something. For example, if the child is not comfortable to wet nappy and if he is crying, you should change the wet nappy, but you should not feed him. At the same vice versa, the child is hungry and you might assume the mother might assume that he is crying for wet nappy and trying to change the nappy doesn't hold good. So whatever the child's needs to be met. Then the child will have that basic trust. If the child's needs are not met, then mistrust will develop. Fear and suspicion develops towards the world in later stages. The proper ratio of trust and mistrust results in ascendance of hope. Hope is nothing but the earliest and most indispensable virtue. Here, Erik Erikson has coined a luminous ritualization. This is a pattern that is a recurring pattern of behavior characteristics of a particular society. The syndrome of maternal deprivation is well recognized, and such infants who is having that maternal deprivation of the mother will have a failure to gain weight, retard in their physical as well as emotional growth, and lack of sense of basic trust will be there. And they'll have that fear of abandonment and separation anxiety. What are the clinical applications in dentistry? In early age, dental treatment is usually preferable to do so with the parent present. Even oral mouth checkup, oral health checkup, I mean to say, should be done in presence of the parent or caregiver. In later stages, if the child with limited sense of basic trust will have difficulty entering into situation that require trust and confidence of the other person, being it a dentist or any other person, they'll be extremely frightened and uncooperative patient. The second stage would be autonomy versus shame and doubt. Second and third year, here the child will think, I am what I can do. So this corresponds to anal stage of Sigmund Freud. Autonomy on motor and mental abilities, anxieties of this period, fear of loss of love and fear of separation will be there with the parent or caregiver. Toddler realizes that he is separate person with his own desires and abilities. Need to be very careful in this stage. Child's motor and mental abilities will be emerging when compared to the previous stage, so that virtue will emerge, and here the child will be responsible. This stage will be responsible for child's gradual acceptance of lawfulness and necessity. Erikson calls this ritualization of this stage is judicious. Means the child will know how to do things judiciously. Protect him against the consequences of dangers and unacceptable behavior while providing opportunities to develop independent behavior. Here, the parent's role is very important. For example, if the child is starting to walk, the parent should protect the child by holding the hands separately, front and backward, without touching the child. The child should sense the trust so that the child will not fall, and my parent or caregiver is there to support me. But if you hold the hand and make the child walk here, the child will have this role confusion, means they cannot have that individual possession in this stage. This stage promotes freedom of self-expression and lovingness. Self-control of muscles, impulses, and the environment is seen in this stage. Reinforce a sense of shame and doubt. Pampering of child occasionally is not a problem, but you should not pamper all the time. Child develops an excessive sense of doubt in abilities to control the world and self if you pamper or if you are not giving him free hand. Well prepared to be autonomous in later stage of life if you give them enough of free hand. See here, the conflict would be fear of loss of love and fear of separation. According to Erikson, from a sense of self-control without loss of self-esteem comes a lasting sense of goodwill and pride. If there is a sense of loss of self-control and foreign over-control, came a lasting prosperity for shame and doubt. So, as the parent is raising the child, they should know that when to pamper the child or when to give them individuality or separate set of voluntary walking or whatever it is. What are the clinical applications in dentistry? A key towards obtaining cooperation with treatment from this stage from a child in this stage is child think whatever the dentist wants was his or her own choice. They offer the child reasonable choices whenever possible. For instance, either green or yellow napkin for neck, or should I use aerator or a spoon excavator if you can remove the caries with a spoon excavator only. That is why we call it as reasonable choices. Wanted to remove with aerator, and if it cannot be removed with spoon excavator, you should not give the choice itself. Allow the parents to present during treatment. You should not ask them to leave from the treatment area, because in this stage the child needs the parent for them to have that ability to understand the child will have the understanding that the mother or father or the caregiver will be there for them if any eventuality happens. So always allow the parents in the treatment area. Complex dental treatment is very challenging in this age group. You might need general anesthesia or sedation. The next stage would be initiative versus guilt, 4 to 5 years. And what I can imagine corresponds to phallic stage of Sigmund Freud, advanced to and more together physical activity and motion, extreme curiosity and questioning, and aggressive talking. In this stage, the child will talk and ask many doubts. Balance between eagerness for adventure and responsibility, and also to control impulses and childhood fantasies. Fear of bodily injury will be there, so that I advise you whenever you are making a child in this stage to climb the chair, you need to down the chair and you need to tell them that I am raising the chair. If suddenly you are raising the chair height, the child might feel that he might fall and he might have that bodily injury. So that fear of bodily injury will be great in this stage. Whenever you are introducing any instrument, you have to tell them, you have to assure them that it is going to be normal and these are the instruments you are going to introduce in their mouth for the purpose of dental treatment. So you need to be very cautious, and dramatic ritualization will be there in this stage. The negative counterpart of dramatic ritualization is the ritualization of impression throughout the life. And then parents' role. What is the parents' role? The parents should initiate and reinforce the whatever the questions the child is asking. They need to be very patient in answering all the questions and do not deride or inhibit fantasies or role play. This is very very important, because the child might develop according to the parents' influence in this particular stage. So that you need to educate the parents also. The opposite of initiative is guilt, resulting from goals that are contemplated but not attained, from acts initiated but not completed, or from faults or acts reworked by person the child has done. In a simpler term, I would like to explain to you guys in a simpler term that, see, if you're telling your child, see, by this age, every child is doing this thing, but you cannot do this. The child will have that guilt. Okay, I cannot do this. If you encourage the child, right now you might not do this work, but in future you might do because of this experience. The child will have that initiative. If you constantly criticizing the child cannot have that initiation and they'll feel always guilty. I am not capable. That will be there in their mind. So whenever you are seeing a patient in this age group, the first visit of the dentist should be initiative. You need to have that positive reinforcement thing. Develop greater independence and produce a sense of accomplishment. You need to make them, they have accomplished something. Give them an previous errand. Ask them to press. If the water comes out, you have done a great job by pressing the water. You have achieved something. So that will initiate him to get the treatment done from the dentist, so that they'll be curious about the dentist office and they'll be eager to learn. So you provide that eagerness to learn and utilize it, and you have to make them cooperative enough for you by giving an initiative kind of a thing. An exploratory visit with the mother will be of great help. The next stage would be industry versus inferiority. Comes into 6 to 11 years and what I can achieve in this stage. They correspond to later stage of Sigmund Freud, acquire academic and social skills, child acquires industriousness and begins the preparation for entrance into competitive and working world in this age group. The influence of the parent as role models decrease and the influence of the peer group increases from this age. The negative side would be inferiority. A child who begins to compare academically, socially, and physically is certain to find that others do same things better and that someone does nearly anything better. It is important for responsible adults to attempt to structure an environment that provides challenges, but challenges that have a reasonable chance of being met rather than guaranteed failure. See, you have to give them reasonable choices. For example, if the child is getting a third rank or a fourth rank, it's okay to tell you aim for the first rank. But it's not okay to tell if you're not getting first rank, you are waste. You are not achieving. When somebody is achieving, why are you not achieving? This kind of talks should be avoided. Clinical applications, orthodontic treatment in this stage, you can interceptive ortho or preventive ortho can also be motivated, but interceptive ortho, mainly interceptive orthodontics, you can motivate the child for the better facial aesthetics. You can go for this treatment. So if you can give them that positive reinforcement and intermediate goals, that behavior guidance, if you give, then the patient will be cooperative enough in this stage. There should be any motivating factor like aesthetics and all. If you wear this appliance, your bite will be better. How the teeth will look better as the child cooperates is more likely to be motivating factor. See, rather than telling them that if you wear this appliance, your bite will be better, tell them that your appearance will be better than the occlusion. So they concentrate on the appearance rather than the occlusion at this stage. Identity versus role confusion. Who am I? We all had that in our early teenage years. How they appear to others, period of adolescence, complex stage. For me, if you ask me who is the difficult patient to treat, I'll tell an adolescent or a teenager. Emerging sexuality complication relationship with others also seen in this stage. Establishing one's own identity requires a partial withdrawal from the family. They'll interact more with the peer group rather than the family. So they become important role models, the peer group, and the values and tastes of the parents and other authority figures are likely to be rejected when compared to the peers. As adolescence progresses, an inability to separate from the group indicates some failure in identity development. So, what are the clinical applications? Here, you can definitely motivate the patients for orthodontic treatment and any functional treatment, saying that they can look better and aesthetically good. Motivation for seeking treatment, external and internal, you have to say, and your approval of the peer group is extremely important in this kind of it. So you have to make them know that their peer group will also be okay with the treatment what you are rendering. You have to concentrate on peer group rather than the when you are talking to them, your parents or your elders will like this. No, you have to tell them your peer group might have a better influence when if you get the treatment done. It is extremely important for an adolescent to actively desire the treatment is something being done for not him or her. Abstract concepts can be grasped readily. Impact on personal health are not likely to headed. Okay. Finally, I would like to tell that Erickson psychosocial development, in a nutshell, that age one infancy, trust versus mistrust, psychosocial strength will be hope, and maternal influences, environmental influence would be maternal. 2 to 3 years early childhood, autonomy versus shame and doubt, willpower will be strength, and environmental influence, both parents or adult substitute. 4 to 5 years preschooler, initiative versus guilt, purpose will be psychosocial strength, and parent, family, and friends will be the environmental influence. 6 to 11 years, middle childhood, industry versus inferiority, competence and school environmental influence will be school. 12 to 17 years, adolescence, identity versus role confusion, fidelity will be psychosocial strength, and peers will be environmental influence. I would like to tell the differences between Freud versus Erickson's theories. Approximate ages, birth to 1 year, oral stage of Freud, a child's primary source of pleasure is thought to be mouth via sucking, eating, and tasting by Sigmund Freud. Trust versus mistrust. Child learn to trust or mistrust by their caregivers, according to Erik Erikson. Anal stage. Children gain a sense of mastery and competence by controlling bladder and bowel movements. Autonomy versus doubt. Children develop self-sufficiency by control activities such as eating, toilet training, and talking. Phallic stage. The libido's energy is focused on genitals. Children begin to identify with their same-sex parent. Children begin to take more control over their environment by interacting with the society. 7 to 11, latent period. The libido energy is suppressed and children are focused on other activities such as school, friends, and all. Industry versus inferiority. Children develop a sense of competence by mastering new skills. Genital stages. Children begin to explore romantic relationships. Identity versus role confusion. Children develop a personal identify and sense of self-esteem. Finally, I would like to conclude that Erickson's model of psychosocial development is very significant, highly regarded, and meaningful concept when compared to Sigmund Freud. But as I said in previous lecture, Sigmund Freud's theory is a basic theory where all the theories are involved. So we have to concentrate on that also. But Erickson's model of psychosocial is highly regarded as meaningful concept when compared to psychoanalytical theory. Life is a series of lessons and challenges which help us to grow. Erickson's wonderful theory helps to tell us much. Erickson's psychosocial theory could be taught to everybody, especially school children, teachers, and parents. Erickson was keen to improve the way children and young people are taught and nurtured. These are the references I would ask you to go through. Sandrock if possible, but as an undergraduate student, pediatric responsible and practice MS and Sigma textbook is more than enough. Thank you.